Welcome back to COWDEMY.com for another deep dive. Today, we're going to be talking about cow hooves. Specifically, we're going to be looking at a structure called the suspensory apparatus. Now, it might not sound like the most exciting topic, but trust me, this thing is a crucial piece of bioengineering that keeps cows moving.
It really is. You know a cow has to carry a lot of weight, and the suspensory apparatus is what lets them stand and walk around. You can almost think of it like a suspension system, like in a car, but for their pedal bone. The pedal bone is essentially the foundation of the hoof.
Okay, so we've got this pedal bone, which is like the foundation. What's holding it all together? How does the suspension system actually work?
Well, it's pretty amazing when you look at the anatomy. So the pedal bone isn't directly connected to the hoof capsule. It's actually suspended inside. And the suspension happens because of all these layers of tissue that interlock, and these are called laminae. Think of them like two pieces of Velcro. That's basically how the bone is attached inside the hoof. Now, there are two types of laminae. There's dermal laminae, which have a lot of blood vessels and nerve, and then there's epidermal laminae, and these are much tougher. They work together to create this super strong bond, and that bond is what lets the pedal bone handle all that force every time a cow takes a step.
So it's like a natural shock absorber.
And it doesn't stop there. You've got these bundles of collagen fibers. They act like little springs to spread out the impact from each step. And then for even more cushioning, there's something called the digital cushion. This is a pad of fat right under the pedal bone. It's all incredibly well designed so cows can walk, run, and graze comfortably.
It really makes you appreciate all the complexity hidden within something that we just see as a hoof.
But you mentioned that there's a potential weak point in this system. What makes the suspensory apparatus so vulnerable? Well, it is strong, but there's a condition called laminitis that can really cause problems. It's a hoof disease that actually attacks the laminae that we were just talking about. Basically, it's like if that Velcro we mentioned started to tear apart, that's what's happening inside the hoof.
So what causes this tearing of the laminae? Why does this laminitis occur?
It usually starts with problems in the blood flow to the corium. The corium is the tissue that provides nutrients to the hoof. When that blood flow gets disrupted, it causes inflammation, and the laminae start to break down. This weakens the connection between the pedal bone and the hoof wall.
And what happens when that bond weakens? What are the consequences for the cow?
When this foundation weakens, the pedal bone can actually sink and displace downwards. The broader inflammation that's affecting the hoof's sensitive tissue, known as the corium, is more accurately termed coriosis. These initial stages of laminitis often don't show obvious symptoms, but as the pedal bone sinks, it compresses that delicate corium and the digital cushion beneath it. This compression within the hoof leads to further damage, including hemorrhage and even tissue damage. So by the time we actually see visible signs of trouble, the problem has been developing for a while. Often it takes, 8 to 12 weeks for the consequences of laminitis to become really apparent. And these consequences often manifest as those painful sole ulcers and white line disease. And the changes to the hoof structure are often permanent.
So even if a cow seems like it's recovered, the hoof might never be the same.
That's often the case, unfortunately. It really highlights how important it is to protect the structure right from the start.
How are the ways we farm today impacting the suspensory apparatus?
Well, traditionally, cows would have spent most of their time on pasture, soft ground that gives way a little. This let their hooves flex and move naturally. That movement helps with blood circulation and keeps the hooves healthy. But on a lot of modern dairy farms, cows are kept on hard surfaces, like concrete, for long periods.
So you're saying this shift from pasture to concrete is a problem. So if we want to protect this vital structure in their hooves, we need to rethink how we're managing these dairy cows, especially when it comes to the kind of surfaces they're spending their time on.
Exactly. Minimizing the time they spend on those hard surfaces is critical. We need to create environments that support their natural biomechanics. One of the most important things is regular hoof care. Having trained professionals check their hooves regularly can make a big difference. They can spot problems early on, trim the hooves properly, and take care of any issues before they become serious.
What else can we do to make sure their suspensory apparatus stays healthy?
Well, cow comfort is huge. We need to make sure they have enough space to move around freely, give them comfortable bedding to rest on, and like we were saying, reduce the time they spend on hard surfaces. That's one of the biggest things.
So regular hoof care, comfortable bedding and flooring that's closer to what they'd have in nature. It's all about working with their biology, not against it. Anything else we should be thinking about?
Oh, absolutely. We can't forget about nutrition. Making sure they get a balanced diet with all the right nutrients is key. Things like zinc and copper are really important for strong, healthy hooves.
So it's a holistic approach. We're taking care of their hooves directly, making sure they're comfortable and giving them the nutrition they need. It all ties together.
Right. And early detection of lameness is also crucial. The faster we catch it, the better their chances of recovery and the less chance there is of long-term damage.
So instead of reacting to a problem after it's already there, we're going to be able to stop it from happening in the first place. Well, this has been a really eye-opening deep dive into the world of cow hooves. We've learned so much about how the suspensory apparatus works, the serious consequences of lameness, and the many things we can do to keep hooves healthy. It's clearly a subject that deserves more attention. To all our listeners, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of cow hooves. It might not be glamorous, but as we've learned, it's absolutely vital.